What's up, guys? Today is the next installment in my series, Fisch First Impressions. And this update we had, the Shady Bazaar update, and oh my gosh, this update has changed the game so much. So before I get into it, I just want to apologize for not making a video on the Humpback Whale update. I was feeling really sick, my voice was like destroyed. I couldn't say anything without coughing like every 5 seconds, so unfortunately I just decided not to make a video, and that's kind of alright. I mean, I didn't really miss that much on the update. And before I get into this update, I do want to start by saying that I don't hate any of the developers like Nick or Layla, and I don't hate any of the testers or the balancing team, but there are a lot of parts about this update that I am not a big fan of. So let's get into it right now. So starting off, we have this new area called the Shady Bazaar. Get into it through this lighthouse over here by talking to this dude, and he'll let you in after talking to 3 ghost NPCs around the map. So let's head in here. As you can see, it's this whole underground area with like a bunch of stuff. We have all these NPCs that sell stuff, and the way that you buy stuff from these NPCs is with the new currency, Shady Scripts. Now, in order to get Shady Scripts, it's pretty darn tedious. So the most efficient way of getting them, well, there is a more efficient way of getting them, but the way that you're intended to get them is by talking to the Shady Angler and the Hunting Angler, who's all the way over here. And these guys will give you quests, as you can see down here. Catch a secret fish and then catch an exotic fish that has a mutation. So you have those quests. If you check the quests themselves, you can see how much script they give. Most of them are not really worth it, and that's kind of the problem here. So before I can really get into most of this update, I have to start by addressing the game-breaking bug that happened on Saturday. When the game updated, they switched the trading plaza currency to Shady Scripts, and when they did that, there was a huge testing oversight, a huge bug, where if you would sell a skin or whatever at past the price limit, if you put it past the price limit, it would reset to 1 script, and it was just an absolute disaster. A bunch of rare limited skins dropped down so hard, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. Probably like trillions of credits worth of skins were lost. And honestly, I really don't know if those things are going to be restored. It was just like an absolute disaster starting off with that. Next, the Shady Nuke thing. This guy over here, the rare goods dealer, he sells Shady Nukes. And the thing about these things, the Shady Nukes, here, I'll buy one right now. When you use a Shady Nuke, I'm not gonna click on it because I'm gonna like drop it. When you use a Shady Nuke, it acts just like a regular nuke, except you'll get the Shady mutation. And this is where the most game-breaking thing about the new update was when it came to getting the new currency. This Shady merchant right here. Show me something shady, you can sell him a fish that has the Shady mutation, which I really am not that big a fan of, because what ended up happening when the Shady Nuke came out, people were using Nate's Blade, and the thing about Nate's Blade, it has the best size increase in the game. It doubles the size of every fish that you catch, and the mutation on the rod was really low. So what people were doing, they would go to the Brainstorm, which is the best way to farm money right now, and they would pop a Shady Nuke, they would use Nate's Blade, and you would just make so much freaking money. Not even money, so much scripts. You would make so much scripts. You could get like 100,000 scripts like every 30 minutes based on Panic Button's video. You could get 100,000 scripts in 30 minutes, which, if I'm doing the math correctly, that's 10 billion. That is 10 billion credits worth of scripts. That basically means that in one session of fishing with the Shady Nuke, you're going to make your money back tenfold. If you do it in a group, you would make your money back tenfold. You would have 100,000 scripts. Then you head over to the trading plaza, you can just buy whatever skin you want, basically. Any modern skin that's come out, they're like not really selling for that much. You can just get whatever you want. Let's say you reach 1 million script. That's enough to already buy like 99% of all the skins in the game. Even Reaper, which is just absolutely insane. Like, it just completely destroyed the economy. This is really bad. Like, huge oversight by the balancing team. Thankfully, Nick and Layla had patched up that stuff, but it was just so bad. So now that I've acknowledged like the really bad part of the update, which was just the huge balancing oversights, now I can kind of go into detail on like how exactly everything works here, because you know I still want to like actually review the update. So what ended up happening, we have these guys over here. We have this girl who sells you a companion called Smudge. It's not really that interesting, to be honest. It catches trash fish. It can give you shady script, and it also slows fish movement speed, which is, I mean, about what you'd expect from a companion. We haven't really gotten anything interesting. It's kind of boring if you ask me. Now we have the Shady Rod dealer over here. He sells the Moonlit Rod and the Shady Rod. The Moonlit Rod is pretty boring. The only thing it can do is give you the Moonlit bonus. So the way that the Moonlit Rod works, when you equip it, I'll display it on the screen if I can find a screenshot. It gives you a passive after catching 10 fish, like a mini Celestial Rod. But if you're fishing during the Moonlit Mirage, it has a 100% chance for Lunar, which is really good for building up the Moonlit Mirage buff, the size buff. But that's really its only use. I mean, it's good that we have a rod for the Lunar mutation, but this is just like cannon fodder, basically. Then we have the Shading Rod, which, let me see right over here, the Shady Rod. 4,000 script for this thing. This thing is freaking expensive. And unfortunately, I made the mistake of getting a little too desperate, and I exchanged all my credits for that, and it was not really worth it. Because even though it can get the Shady mutation, I mean, I just don't really want to grind it out. Like, this is the main problem that I'll go into later. It's the fact that this new currency is basically the same problem as C2. We're grinding out this new currency, and it's not really that useful. Besides this good dealer, there's not really anything significant you can buy with script that isn't like really overpriced. Like an invincible relic, that is so easy to get. And then look at the price on this, 250 script. Sovereign relics are even more expensive. Sovereign relics are like 5,000 script. Just completely outrageous. You know how often Sovereign Storms are? You can find those in like every 3 servers you join. They're really not that hard to find, and then you can just catch a relic just like that. The thing about this update is just really the amount of balancing oversights that there is right now, because this guy just sells things for way too much script. It's really not that hard to get script, but even with how easy the scripts are to get right now, this is just still way too expensive. The totems are reasonably priced, and then when you get to the relics, that's just when it becomes way too expensive. Song of the Deep for 1,250. The freaking cosmic relics are like 500 too. They're just way too expensive. You can like buy those things in the trading plaza for way cheaper. And I feel like the prices right now are just kind of undermining the update. Like, we come over here to this admin relic guy too. He's pretty useless. Like, if you're here for the update, he'll just give you 50 script and then you're just done with him. And then the baits are also just really bad. This bait guy over here, the baits are really bad. Really the only actual content in the update is the Smudge companion and the 2 rods. And that's where like the main problem for this update comes from. We have a new currency to grind, but we don't really have anything to spend it on right now. We just have these consumables over here and then trading plaza, and that's really the only thing that you can grind for right now in this update. There was also some updates to the black market, which, you know, I'm all for new black market items. The black market items were bugged, but they did fix them. So, I mean, really, there's not much to say about that. The devs have always been on point with this kind of stuff. They always listen to the community as best as they can, which, you know, sometimes we still end up with stuff like this, but they are trying. And I'm not going to put any hate on the devs. It's really just a balancing team. And honestly, I don't really hate them either, because at the end of the day, it's just It's just a game, really. But these kind of decisions are really hurting the game, because going back to the bug that happened with the script setting to 1 with those skins, people lost a lot of skins, other people got obscenely rich, and a bunch of people got a bunch of skins that they just straight up stole. And then with the Shady Nuke thing, unlike with the skins, you can do like rollbacks on stuff like that, but they didn't do any kind of rollback with the Shady Nuke situation. So what ended up happening, they nerfed Nate's Blade to the ground, and now, dude, the script economy, no one even knows how much value it really has right now, because I missed out on it. But everyone who missed out, they're just kind of screwed. Everyone who was just there when the freaking Nate's Blade thing happened, they just got obscenely rich with the new currency. All you don't have to grind it out for like a freaking like 3 weeks. They got like 3 weeks worth of grinding. Like the 10,000 that I just spent on the nuke, that took like 4 hours to make, if you count like the actual time I spent doing it, not like in between the skips. Like 4 hours of actual grinding to get all of those scripts. And the fact that you can just like make 100,000 in 30 minutes and now you can't, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because it kind of has this precedent where you kind of have to cheat the system, or else you're gonna be like me, where you miss out and then you just have to deal with it. You have to grind normally if you want to do stuff. And that's like my last gripe with this update. Apart from the Shady Bazaar stuff, they also added some quality of life changes, which were pretty good. Like in the shop here, you look at the view model. It looks mostly the same, but then you go right here to the rod skins. You can play cast effects now, and you get this view model for any item that you look in the trading plaza, which is definitely very needed, because most people don't really even know what they're buying half the time. I want to hear whatever the sound effects are. I want to see the lure effects, stuff like that. So I think that's a step in the right direction. That was a good part of this update. So final thoughts. The update had good intentions, right? It had good intentions, but there really isn't a need for this new currency, to be honest. And I think it really hurts people who want to make money through the trading plaza, because the trading's kind of cooked now. You can't make money off of trading anymore. You're only going to get this currency, which in the current state isn't good, which I've been over that already. I think that this update was hyped up a lot, and it ended up ruining a lot of things. So because of the overall lack of content and the poor balancing that was taken into account with this update, I really can't give it any more than like a 3.5. I just don't have the kind of motivation to grind out this new currency, man. There's just no motivation. There's no goal in this update. That's the main problem. But there's no goal. It just adds a lot more time, because there's kind of like a race now to get this new currency, and I'm not really a big fan of it. I don't like the implications that this update has, and I feel like it'd probably be best if they could find a way to compensate people and try to reset the effects that this currency put on the initial release. That would be like my ideal solution, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I will see if I can make some different videos instead of just update reviews, because if the current state of updates is going to be like this, it's just going to be an entire negativity fest, and I don't really want it to be that, but we'll just have to see. So final verdict, 3.5 out of 10. And quite frankly, I think even on paper, this update just was a bad idea. There's a lot of things that I've already expressed I don't like about it, so I'll just leave it at that. I'll see you guys later.